So I wanted to get back on here and tell you all about the new curriculum that I'm using with my daughter. So she is 4.5, and so I use this very loosely as a science subject in her curriculum. We do use other things, but we do truly love the good and the beautiful. And this is the Arthropod unit. We just finished up her safety unit and she did fabulous with it. It does say it is for K through 8. So because she's not a kindergartner, I do use it very, very, very loosely. Once a week. We normally do it on like Thursdays, and we do it for about 15-20 minutes once a week, and we just cover as much as we can cover, and so far we've been doing about one every semester, 3.5-ish months, 4 times a week, or 4 times a month, once a week. Come sit up here. Are you gonna be in the video with me? Okay, so I have a little helper. So Sayla was very, very interested in bugs when going through the safety curriculum. So, immediately I knew what I wanted to do next with her, and I actually let her choose next year's curriculum. So I'm very excited with what she chose to do. But yeah, let's get on in with this. So it did not come spiral bound. You can either buy this in PDF form or have them send it to you and you can bind it. It's not expensive. I went to Office Max and got this bound for about $4. But it's very, very thick material. It's not something that's gonna get messed up quickly. So I did not laminate the actual text because it is like thick material. I don't know if you can even see that, how thick it is. It's not very flimsy material. So when you open this up, you immediately see the contents, the table of contents that we have here. But yeah, so Jenny Phillips did a very good job as far as creating this table of contents to kind of give you a heads up on what you're going to be doing as far as introduction to arthropods, introduction to insects, all the way down to bees and butterflies and ants and arachnids and crustaceans and so on. Yes, sir. Everybody's just not happy today. Then it has unit information. I thought this was very interesting and very useful. It tells you can use a science journal. We did not do a science journal yet. When my daughter's older and we go back through the science units, I will have her then do a science journal, but it does tell you to do a science journal because there is written and hands-on interactive activities throughout the text as far as learning the different insects and their body parts and comparatives and that sort of thing. And they can either have it like in a composition book or they can, insert into a binder. A science wall. So I don't actually have a chalk wall to write the vocabulary down. I have this cork board. You can see this. I had to kind of scoot over because little man bumped his head and now he's wanting to cling to mama. So we'll see how long he stays up here on my lap. But we were talking about the science wall. And I do have potentially a classroom that I'm going to get ready. And I want to do a chalkboard wall. So when that happens, I then can use that. But for now, last semester and this semester, I've just used this cork board, and this has just been perfect enough to push pin the vocabulary words on and to kind of make them a little more sturdy. Since I knew I was going to be push pinning them on here, I went ahead and laminated the sheet before cutting them out. And it's very simple. These are all of the vocabulary vocabulary words for the entire unit. It's not like they give you this huge list, but just main points. And even my daughter already knows 3 of the 5. And we've only done about 2 lessons now. So it just really, surprised me because I thought she was too young for the vocabulary portion of it, but I still wanted to cover it, and then what she took. What she understood, she understood. I knew that I had planned on doing this at least a second time when he is a little bit older and she is much older and can do more of the interactive portions. So it surprised me that she already understands some of the vocabulary that comes with the unit. So I went ahead, it says, go ahead and put like this word on there, I went ahead and put all of them on there, just so that way we would have it up here and it's not just laying around getting lost. So I have that up there. Then it comes with these mini books, and it tells you when to use all of this throughout the actual text. But it has these mini books that I went ahead and I did laminate before cutting out. And it's pretty wonderful because it has a title page and each one is numbered. So you can tell if it was to get all mixed up, because believe me, before I videoed this, it was all mixed up. You can tell where what goes. And I actually want to take a stapler and staple this into an actual book. That's what I did last year with the safety curriculum, and it was pretty perfect. And I mean, The Good and the Beautiful, I mean, the reason it's called The Good and the Beautiful is because it shows the good and the beautiful in everything. And look at these illustrations. I mean, and it's termites. Termites is just so awful sounding, negative and disgusting and awful, but I mean, look at that. These colors, look, I'm gonna get it all mixed up again. The colors, ooh, that's a little gross, but the coloring and the illustrations are what they're known for, and I just think it's beautiful. So, at that point in time, we will then, and see, even at the very end of the book, it'll ask, what did you learn about termites? So that's one thing that you can, use to make sure that we are actually listening when we're reading the text, is to have those interactive questions. And that's another reason I love this text, is because there's so many questions, and it's not, they are questions that I can make so advanced for an 8th grader, but I can ask loosely and vaguely or broadly for my daughter to understand, and expect this kind of answer from a 6th, 7th, 8th grader, and expect this kind of answer from a kindergarten through 5th grader. So it's very nice because they're not specific questions, and you can really branch off from them, if that makes sense. So we have a termites book, a crustaceans book, and an ants book. We're eating Valentine's Day candy, and it's like 6:30, so that's never good. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we crash. Okay, so those are the mini books, and it does tell you, make sure to cut them out and stack the pages together and staple twice. So now it says lesson preparation. All that you need to do with the Good and the Beautiful science units. All the Good and the Beautiful science units include these easy to follow lesson preparation directions. And I want to say it's at the very top. We will look. But it's at the beginning of each lesson, so that way you know ahead of time what you need as far as everyday items and, oh goodness, everyday items and what they provide you with. Okay, so as far as teaching older children, this unit's designed for K through 6. But it also has this little symbol right here. It's like a magnifying glass. And that's just for an advancement for older children. It's at the end of most of the lessons, and I've already seen some of them. And it also gives you some. So they also give you some optional books that you could buy to read or have your older children read for this unit as well. And then it even has another book on here that they recommend reading and writing about for grades 9 and up when you do the Arthropods unit. Okay, so this next part, well, this is nice because I forgot about this, to be honest with you. So I was thinking it goes straight into it, but it actually has the supplies needed here. So lesson 1, 2, and 3, you don't need anything besides the vocabulary words that come with the lesson. Lesson 4, you need brown clay, any kind, glow sticks, a small piece of silk material, and that's optional, the silk material. Lesson 5, paper towel, scissors, a handful of Cheetos, a candy or a snack, a fruit snack or a grape, 1/8 teaspoon of honey, and 1 sesame seed for each child. Lesson 6, several cotton balls, a few different scents to put on the cotton balls, such as peppermint, vanilla, almond, dish soap, lemon, or cinnamon. 7, 8, and 9, you don't need anything. On lesson 10, we're going to do an ant farm, so we're going to do that. You're going to need an ant farm. Lesson 11, 9, lesson 12, scotch tape, and a few drops of vegetable or oil, olive oil. And lesson 13, and this is optional, a crayfish dissection kit. So that would be very fun. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with my daughter. The ant farm we will. I'm not sure about the crayfish dissection kit yet. Okay, so as you can see, we're back on Mom's lap. So again, just bear with me. I hope you can still see. I forgot about this as well. This is the optional read aloud storybooks. They actually did not have something like this with the safety lesson. So I think that this is new. I'm not positive. Or maybe this is just something specific with this unit. But it has a key up here where it tells you, like, the asterisk is the top picks, F is fiction, NF is nonfiction, B is biography, and K through 6 indicates, like, the interest level of the book from preschool through 6th grade. So any lesson, you can buy Chirping Crickets by Melvin Berger, and that's a nonfiction book, and that is good for levels K through 6. So we went ahead and bought this, and it did not do itself wrong. It's
Mommy, I found the egg.
Very beautiful. It was right. Like, this is a very beautifully illustrated book for such a good price. It says it's ages 5 through 9, and it has so much information in here. And my daughter loved it. You like this book, right? Yeah, she loved this book. And one of the things that really got me is just it took very advanced information and simplified it down for such a younger audience, such as my daughter, and she was able to review the information back to me, like recite it back to me, and it was very interesting to see. So we may read about this one more time. I didn't realize, I learned things about this book, or about crickets in this book. I didn't realize there was a couple different types of crickets, like house crickets and tree crickets and ground crickets and field crickets. So I definitely would recommend this book, even if you're not doing arthropods. If you're just doing something like insects, that is a great book to have in your personal library. Then they had a couple of others. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it tells you the lesson, like lesson 5 or 6. Because you're talking about bees, you may want to get The Amazing Bees by Sue Unstead. And then again, it just kind of goes on down, and I think I'm just going to pick from a few on here that I think my daughter would benefit from, and then and build our library, and then when we come back through and do this a second time, I think then I'll get the rest of them. Okay, so on to lesson 1. This is the lesson that we are on. Again, it shows an objective up here, and it shows preparation, supplies needed, none. And then it just goes right into it. Read this to your child. And everything it says in here, you can reword if you would like. So I like to kind of go, like skim through Sunday before I do the lesson. And that way I know when I'm reading it, okay, let me just change this a little bit so it's a little more understanding for my daughter. Again, I've already placed those on my board so that way I wouldn't have to do that at that point. And then again, it just goes straight into each one, invertebrates, and explains invertebrates. And then this is where you, stop Bubba. This is where then you have certain things that go with each unit. So once you get, so it tells the difference between the invertebrates, what an exoskeleton is, what they need to do in their science journal, and then it has this comparison chart. And so it tells you what insects have, what arachnids have, and what they both have in common. And it has the little magnifying glass that I was telling you about, and that's the older children lesson extension. And then you kind of go into insects. And then it starts by saying, like, name your favorite fruit or vegetable. So it's very interactive. You pause for answers. Then you read this. Then you tell them this cute little comic that's on the bottom to kind of make them laugh and keep their brains going. You read this. And then you read what things they have in common. And then down here you have the older children extend their lesson by doing, for each arthropod, list the scientific name, their phylum, class, order, and family. Include interesting facts about each arthropod. And then you do parts of an insect. So now, this is where it will tell you, do this, do that. So, we have, they send you all of this information. All of these little, like, work-throughs and things. And the first one is insects. I actually forgot to laminate this sheet, so I have to laminate this before we do this. But I just like laminating everything so I can keep it for the years to come, and then whatever they need to do, like right in here, if it's laminated, I can erase it, if that makes sense. So, it has insects, and it wants you to tell, like, what are the, different things that tell you it's an insect. So they're supposed to write that in there. Life cycle of a mosquito trivia cards, and it tells you up at the very top what lesson it goes with, lesson 4. So let's go to lesson 4. Oh, and there's the key for the insect handout to tell you, okay, these are the answers. So lesson 4, mosquitoes, it tells you to read this to the children, and then actually this one's going to have stations. So have the children look at the sheet, the life cycle of the mosquito. So that was this one that I was just showing you. And then while you're reading the following, they can then work on or choose from one of the mosquito trivia cards that we laid out. So this is the trivia cards.
Mom.
And then you read them the answer. So like one of them is, how many times per second does a mosquito beat its wings? True or false? Only female mosquitoes suck blood. And so they can play that with each other, or I can do that as mom, and we can play that together as kind of like a game. At that point,
Hey, Mom.
they can look at the firefly images, and again,
Excuse me, Mom.
oh, just,
You like eggs?
I love those eggs. And again, this is where they get their name from, because look at those illustrations. The good and the beautiful makes learning beautiful, like beautiful. So then they have, read this poem by Elizabeth Maddox Roberts here about fireflies. Then have them read Fireflies by Jennifer D. LaRude. So that's this one, okay? And so I think at this point, they're wanting you to do like several stations that day. So I might have my husband help me with that. Just kind of helping the kids like go from each, or Sayla go from each, because she's not old, or Walker's not old enough, go from each little section. Or maybe we'll just do each one independently.
Mom,
but just kind of go through and do like the different stations. Because they actually have silkworms. And then if we have a piece of silk, they have to fill the silk. And it tells you that's what that needed. So it's good to have the supplies on hand before the lesson. Now, I could keep going with this, but I mean, there is just a ton. I mean, fact charts, identification activity sheets. They have to identify which one's the honeybee, which one's the bumblebee, which one's the yellow jacket, which one's the paper wasp. This one is a recipe that we're going to do. It's called Honey Candy Recipe. This is identifying the butterflies. And there's the names right here. Which one's which. And then at this point, I think on here, I'm going to let Sayla do it, but I'm just going to verbally read the questions to her and see if she can remember, but not pressure her into answering any certain
I always have it. You talker.
So, like, the first one is, what is the name of the largest family of butterflies? Just see if she remembers. Life cycle of the butterfly, and then it wants you to do that. Like, it wants you to tell the life cycle of a butterfly, and basically, like, this is the answer sheet. And then this is observing the ant farm. So I'll have her do this, but again, I will read her the questions, and then I will write the answers that she comes up with. This is observing an ant farm. So like 1 to 2 days after the ant farm set up, how many tunnels do you see? Can you measure it with a ruler, and what does it measure? Things like that. Can you sketch a picture of it? The crayfish, and then the key for the parts of the crayfish. And that actually probably should have put that in with the text whenever they bound it, but I didn't, and it's okay. It's all right,
Okay,
whatever
bye-bye.
works for you. I wanted to show you lesson 3. I know we skipped over it, but the reason because I want to do this semester with Sayla, I'm going to do lesson number 1, arthropods, lesson number 2, insects, and then lesson 3 is an oral presentation. And because I don't want to rush her on this, I'm going to do this the rest of the semester. I'm going to do this until May, where she is going to pick an insect and tell me whether it's an arthropod, whether it is an invertebrate, whether it has an exoskeleton, what it eats, what it looks like, where it lives, that sort of thing. It's going to be her first presentation, so I'm not going to judge her hardly on this. And I might even have her do it in front of like some friends and family, so I'm excited about that. But after we get to lesson 3, then we'll pick that, do some research, and each time it's time to do our arthropods unit, we will then work on her oral presentation. I'll probably have her some kind of trifold board and let her decorate it, and we'll print some pictures out and that kind of thing. So I'm very excited. And then at that point, we will end the year. We do kind of homeschool year round. We end in May, but we normally start we end sort of towards the end of May, and we start kind of at the end of July, beginning of August, so that way we can take more time off for like camping trips and holidays. So that way we still have our 180 days. If you watched my video on what it takes to be a homeschooling mom in the state of Georgia, then you'll know 180 days, 4-hour days. I'm watching my son push my vacuum cleaner or steam cleaner around. Okay, but at that point we will start back the year in end of July, beginning of August, and do through December the last, 9 lessons. We spend about 2 weeks per lesson, so that's about 18 weeks. So 3.5 months sounds about right. August, September, October into November. So yeah, I think we're gonna do that. And as a little sneak peek, Selah has picked mammals as her next curriculum. So not this year, but January of 2022, we will then start. Okay, time to end this. I was just telling you that Selah, as a little sneak peek, Selah has picked mammals as our next curriculum, and I'm so excited. So not next semester, but the semester after, so January of 2022, we will be starting mammals, and I can't wait to take Selah to the zoo. What did you find?
Walker, this is my pet. This is my pet.
Okay, so thanks for watching. If you want to continue watching more, make sure you subscribe below. Send me a comment below on what you think I should do next. And if you have any ideas for the Arthropod unit, as far as my pre-K kindergartner goes, definitely let me know below. Make sure you like and share, and I will see you next time.